In this video, let me show you why I believe 85% to 90% that the bottom for Bitcoin is already here. I'm going to show you from price action perspective and also show you from fundamentals. These two data are very important. So if you look at the price action right here, of course, you guys know that I was talking about market coming back into this very point, okay? And then we should see the market bounce off from here. And that is still very, very true. And the worst case scenario for me on the price of BTCUSDT one-day chart, as you can see right now, is this very area of $75,000. That means if Bitcoin should go down crazily, personally, I am not expecting anything below this very point. Of course, market can go below this. That is very okay, but that is not what I am expecting right now based on what I am seeing on-chain, fundamentals, and technical. These are very, very important things to pay attention to. So from here, I believe that the market is going to come back down. Now, this is the number one reason from this technical standpoint. From this area, if you notice, the market from here, okay, move straight into this very point. And before this move, we see this very move right to this very area. So we see from here, market move upward, come back down, move upward, and then begin to come all the way to the downside. Here we see just one move, okay, to the upside for retracement, and then continuation to the downside. So we can simply say that if the market moved this much, okay, and this was the last impulse we see right at this very point, then we see retracement, market come back down, retracement, market come back down, retracement. And this is supposed to be a continuation from here to the downside. And we are not seeing momentum. Please, I always say, and if you're my student, you're watching this very video, you know, I deal with market momentum a lot. And that is how you can, in my opinion, really trade price action, okay, from technical standpoint. So if we are not seeing that momentum right here anymore after some days, this momentum means that the bears are gradually losing the battle to the bulls, which means buyers are going to come in gradually. And from this very area, I can tell you that the market from here is going to move to the upside. Of course, there is still a very little downside risk on Bitcoin right now. And that downside risk is that the market can move upward, okay, and then come back down. Of course, this is the downside risk, but I am not expecting aggressive dump all the way to the downside anymore. What I am expecting in the next coming days and week is for stability. Why? Because remember, today is weekend already, and this is already the end of the year, okay? So a lot of traders have gone for weekend, especially big players in the market. So what I want to see is the market have stability, move upward, come back down, move upward, come back down, and then entering into January, February, I want to see significant move on the price of Bitcoin all the way to the upside. What I don't want to see and what I am not expecting on the price of Bitcoin is for Bitcoin to crash below $75,000. That is off the table for me for now, and this is very, very important. Now, if I switch back to the 4 hours chart, something very important happened this very week. Look at it right here, which means sellers and buyers were really fighting a lot of battle at this very area. A lot of people can call it some manipulation, which is very, very true. Look at what happened at this very point. We see aggressive pump here, and then all of a sudden market dump, recovery by the bulls, market dump again, recovery by the bulls. This means people are actually selling off, and this is the last lap, okay, of that sell-off that we've been seeing in the market. And I believe that market is going to move upward. Now, for market to move upward and that guarantee to increase to 90-95%, this is what you need to pay attention to on price action. If you look at the one-day chart right here, it is covered that this was the last move that market moved for this very retracement from here upward. So this retracement from here is supposed to be continuation to the downside. But what we are seeing right now is a very dull momentum within this very area. And market has not even created a new low. Look at the previous low at this very point, right at this very area. So if this is the last low and market is still being choppy within this very point, is a clear sign for me that the market is going to begin to recover and move upward in favor of the bulls. Another thing to pay attention to is this very area of resistance. Look at this point of resistance right here. What I want to see in the next coming days, in weeks, let's say about 2 to 3 weeks from now, is for the market to move upward, okay? And once the market move upward and break this level, especially this price area of $95,000, once we break this area and the market come back down and could not go below this very point where the market moved from at this very area, then it is a clear sign that that move to the upside is already in the market. And this is what you must have to pay attention to on the price of Bitcoin moving forward from this very point. And like I said earlier, I am not expecting the market go deeper below $75,000 because I believe the bottom is in within this very area on the price of BTC. This is what you need to pay attention to right now on your price action. If you look at the price of ETH at this very point, you see the market move upward. So we see this very moved, market come back down. We see market move upward, come back down, move upward into this very area. If you notice, this very point is a fair value gap. So market from this fair value gap area, okay, and have this very rejection to the downside, which is a continuation of this very impulsive move. But if you notice, one thing very important here is the fact that market has not created a new low. This was a previous low at this very point, and market is right at this very point right now. What I am expecting is for the market to move upward, okay, in the next coming days. And also, just like on the price of BTC, if we can move upward and go above this very area, okay, this very area right here, then that would be a new sign that the next wave of aggressive pump is going to come on Ethereum, in my opinion. Because if we see this rejection from this fair value gap right here, which happened right here, and then market move upward and break above what actually caused the market to come back down for continuation and then make a new high from this very area, that means market move upward, and then we should see the market come back to retest this area. Then the next move will be very, very aggressive, in my opinion. Now, one thing very important here is that I still maintain my stand that the market have a little downside risk on Ethereum, about 20% in my opinion, to go down even up to this very area of $2,100, okay, $2,100. That's a worst case scenario. That downside risk is just 20% for me, and right now I am not expecting market to just crash into this very area. The possibility is there. What I'm expecting right now on the price of Ethereum is for the market to, from where it is right now, begin to approach this very area. Of course, if market approach this area and could not break out, then market can come back down, and then finally, if we see a breakout here, market is going to explode all the way to the upside of the price of ETH. And this is what I am now paying attention to on this very price action right now. And if you come back to the 4 hours chart as well, it is covered that the same thing that happened on Bitcoin also occur right here on ETH, okay? So if you look at ETH at this very point, you discover that market moved downward and come back down, and then we see a little recovery from the bulls, market come back down again from the BS, then a sharp recovery. So there is a fight around this very area between the BS and the bulls, and I believe the bulls are going to win this fight, okay? I see that the market is going to begin to move upward because my bottom is at this very point on the price of ETH, okay? The bottom, in my opinion, is in within this very area, okay? That's where the bottom is, and any price level for the market moving below this very area of $2,100 for me is just very, very crazy. And that's what I am looking at right now on the price of ETH. So pay attention to this to be in the right direction of the market. In my last Pi video, you discovered that I was talking about market moving from this very zone to the upside on the price of Pi, and that this is the best time to buy Pi if you are looking for maybe 1 month, 2 months return. That is, you have to wait for 1 month, 2 months, because
a lot of the time market will just pump all the way to the upside. Of course, it can take 1 to 2 weeks as well for markets to just pump all the way to the upside. But one thing you must not left out of this is that pi is a pump and dump token. That means once you see the pump occur, quickly collect profit, because market can also dump equally to the same point where the market moved from, or even below that very point, because we've seen that on price action a lot of the times. So this is what I am still expecting on the price of pi. I told you in my immediate video that pi is going to move upward, and that this area is a good point to consider a buy position, especially with a very low risk then high reward, about 5 to 10x with a very minimal risk. Market is going to move upward, but be very careful, because a potential dump is also on the way. A lot of the time when we see that pump, especially right here, we see market dump back down, and then we see another move right here, market dump back down as well. So be very, very careful. But I still believe that this very move is going to be aggressive to the upside on the price of pi. The pump on pi is already in. So if you are a pioneer and you are mining, you've been taking time to mine, I believe that starting pi right here will be at a lower price. Instead, you wait for market to pump a little bit. Since you mined is not what you bought, then market is going to give you a better price, and then you sell at a better price. Of course, no one want to sell at a lower price. You want to always sell at higher price. It's normal human psychology. So you wait, since you mined, for market to move upward. Of course, you spend little time or money to mine, but if you wait, market will give you a better price to also sell, which is what we call premium price. So pay attention to this on the price of pi. I still believe markets have greater capacity of moving all the way to the upside from this very area, from what I am seeing on technical analysis. One of the reasons we are seeing the price of Bitcoin move upward and then we are seeing stability is this very news right here. Yesterday, Bank of Japan actually hike rate by 0.25%. Look at it right here. I reported it on this very channel. So if you're not on the channel, you are missing a lot, okay? And if you want to join, link in the description of this video, join right now. It is a free Telegram channel where you receive updates, and from next year a lot of things are going to happen. I'm going to be giving very accurate signal, I mean 95% signal. So join right now. So Bank of Japan actually hike rate as expected, 0.25%, but that was below market expectation. Okay, market was expecting Bank of Japan to hike rate by 0.75%. So it come as a surprise. So from this very area, you see that poly market was expecting the market, that is Bitcoin, to go down to $70,000 because of this very suspected hike of 0.75% by the Bank of Japan. But it did not happen. It only happened that they actually hike rate by 0.25%. So this hike came as a surprise. Now let me teach you something that actually impacts on the market. You see, uncertainty makes market to come back down. Fear makes market to come back down. These two things drives market to come back down from the base. Now, surprise. In this very case, the market was surprised that Bank of Japan did not actually hike rates by 0.75%, but they just did it by 0.25. Okay, so from 0.75 to 0.25, that was a great number. So the market responded and market began to move upward. That was a surprise to the market. So this was one of the reasons what I saw on as a result of the fundamental data, and I think that market is also going to move upward since yesterday, and market has been doing fine. So for those of you guys that still expect Bitcoin to go below 70k or 70k, still expecting, let's see how it plays out, okay? Because the market was actually expecting a very serious disaster especially by now we should be talking about Bitcoin at 75 or 70k, or even people are expecting 50k per Bitcoin, but this turned out not to be so for now, and market is moving all the way to the upside. So pay attention to market moving upward, in my opinion. And if you come to coin market cap here, it is covered that the global crypto market cap is still at $2.99 trillion. At least it have increased a little bit. Fear and greed index, of course, you know that few days ago it was at 11. That was very extreme fear. And the altcoin index very low, 14%, and the average crypto RSI is actually moving above the center region, which is now at 51.7% right here. So all of these are very important. And if you come to crypto bubbles, you discover that coins are actually, beginning to gain momentum. Look at ZEC right here, 10%. CC is 14.8%. We have APT 11.4%, Uni 10.1%, and a lot of coins right here discover that we don't have much red, okay, except we have in here negative 7.7%. So there is this kind of momentum that is now coming to the market gradually, and I want to see this sustain throughout the year. I'm not expecting any drastic aggressive movement all the way to the downside this very few days in this very year. I want to see stability in price, and then the bulls should begin to recover and enter into next year. Market should really pump all the way to the upside, in my opinion. Now personally, let me give you this. I am expecting Bitcoin to do a new all-time high between the first quarter to the second quarter of next year. First quarter, second quarter next year, I am expecting Bitcoin to reach a new all-time high. And this is my personal opinion. You may disagree, that's okay. So what do you think about the price of Bitcoin? Comment below in the comment section of this very video. Consider supporting this channel by leaving a like for this video, subscribe if you haven't already, and turn on the bell notification for more crypto videos like this one. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video.